Now I have in my bag right here, probably one of the most highly anticipated clubs of the year. And I'll be honest, a club that I've been waiting for, because this is Callaway's answer to the Taylormade Mini driver. Yes, they have produced a mini driver. And I'll be honest, like, I wasn't expecting it to look a little bit like this. I am really interested to see how it performs though. And when I say, let's see how it performs, I'm gonna be looking at some very specific numbers. Ball speed, distance, and quite important, what spin rate do we get? Now, we all know these mini drivers are made to basically help people and have an alternative to hit from the tee, but also it can be hit off the deck. So I'm dying to see what we can do with that too. Now, it's really interesting this. Any mini driver that comes out now is going to be compared to the Taylormade mini driver. And what I found interesting is that Taylormade went away from their colorway for 2024, like the blues and the black, to that sort of bronzy gold, sort of, I guess, more retro colorway. Whereas Callaway have done that at all. They haven't. And I found that a bit strange. Let's take a look at this down behind the golf ball. And the first thing that you're going to see is it's literally just the same driver as this year's Callaway in the AI Smoke, just a lot smaller. This is a 340cc head, and you've got the same carbon effect at the back and this sort of matte finish right here, just reduced down. So go on, what do you think of the first initial look of this mini driver? Should they have gone with the same exact look, or should they have gone for something a little more retro to make it a little bit more of a special piece? Now, I think there are going to be limited numbers of this made, and I think, like the Taylormade was, it's going to sell like absolute hotcakes. Look how sort of, well, I guess, deep that face is. It's really quite deep, isn't it? And when I'm saying deep, I'm meaning like this bit here. It's quite chunky, isn't it? And I'm interested to see how this feels when I hit some off the fairway, because, as I said at the start of the video, this club is made for people who, well, struggle off the tee, but also give you some options off the deck. And just to add to this, you get a Callaway head cover, just like the regular driver this year. Again, really nice quality. Now, I know you're dying to see me hit some, and I'm dying to hit some too. It's also worth noting, you do feel like this shaft is quite a bit shorter, but it's not that much shorter. It's 43.75 inches, so it is shorter than what we see as standard right now in driver shafts. And the overall footprint, when you do put it down behind the ball, does look weird. It's almost like someone's gone, whereas if you think about it, most drivers this year have gone in this direction. So come on then, what does this sound like? What does this play like? Let's hit the first one away. Oh my, that was blooming brilliant. That felt mega. That felt really good. Now, interestingly, it did launch a little higher than I initially thought it would, just based on my first impressions down at the ball. Look at these numbers, by the way. Look at these numbers. And I'm not going to lie, for the first shot of the day with this driver, 265 yard carry, around 3,000 spin, 155.5 ball speed, 106 clubhead speed. This is a little bit lower than normal, but it is a shorter shaft that is worth noting. A little higher launch than I normally have. And you know what? That's not a bad carry too. Now, it is worth noting, I have the 13.5 degree version right here. That's available in both right and left hand. You can also get a 11.5 degree, but as far as I'm aware, I think that's only going to be available in right-handed options. Now, first shot away, weirdly, that shorter shaft, smaller head, deep face, felt really quite comfortable. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised on those numbers. So who is this actual mini driver aimed at? So really the honest answer is, I guess, somebody who's looking to launch the ball a little higher, maybe a little bit of a softer landing shot, a club that you can use both off the tee and from the fairway. But if you think about it, most of us will get on with this a little bit easier because of the shorter shaft and a little bit more loft on the fade. And I would say loft, like this one I said before, is 13.5 degrees, is a key component. With a bit more loft, you're going to be able to hit it a little bit straighter. Just think of that like you hit your sand wedge a lot straighter than you hit your 5-iron. And that's probably the simplest way of thinking about it. Now, let's hit a couple more away and we'll go into the actual technology in this driver. Because you eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed there are 2 weights on the bottom. Tell you what, I am really enjoying the look of that footprint down behind the ball. I'm not quite teeing this up as high as I would for a driver. I'm teeing it up just a little bit lower than normal. Maybe that's a little high there, Alex. Let's get that a little lower. I'm really enjoying that footprint. It's smaller, but feels a little bit more extended at the back. That's what I mean, like sort of this area here feels like smaller, but okay, here we go. Let's hit ball number 2, down this fairway. Oh my, look at that shape. You know what, the sound's very different to what I imagined. It's quite a high-pitched, ooh, hello. Sorry, it's quite a high-pitched sound. Solid, but definitely high-pitched. A little bit different to what I expect from a Callaway sound, but in a good way. Wow, wow. These are creeping up just nicely. Look, a little bit more ball speed, a little bit more club head speed, and let me just scan through these for you. 282 total, and we all want to know the carry, launch, come down a little bit more on that one. 265 yards. Now I am spinning it a little bit more, and that could be down to a few different reasons. One of them being I've not been fitted for this shaft, but I'll be honest, I would take those 2 drives completely every single time. But also the idea behind having more loft and having the weight system like this here. We have a 4-gram weight at the front and a 12-gram weight at the back. Now you can flip these round and it will make it a little less forgiving but a little bit more low spinning, and that'll be really cool to see how that goes. But let's just carry on trying it the way it is. Also worth noting, you have the same loft sleeve right here that is featured on the Callaway Ai Smoke and has been in many of the drivers over the last few years. So you can loft it up, you can make it more draw bias, you can take loft off. Yeah, you can pretty much tweak this any way you want. Whew, I am getting hot right now. I'm enjoying those 2 drives. So first off, what do you think of those first 2 shots? It's definitely launching higher, it's definitely landing a little bit softer, but I guess that's everything that this mini driver is about. It's about giving you a little bit more consistency. It's not designed for outright distance, but actually some people that I've spoke to do hit these sort of things a little bit better because it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit easier to find the middle, and finding the middle we know creates more ball speed. And that leads me on to this. You also get the exact same AI smart face featured in this year's AI Smoke driver. You know, I guess the main one within the brand this year. You get the exact same face. Did you just see those last 2 shots? These numbers are climbing, climbing, and climbing. More ball speed, more club head speed, and I'll be honest, when we get down on that fairway, I think these are all really, really close together. Like they're all being right down the middle, which bizarrely right now, I'm feeling very, very confident with this club. Probably the most confident I've felt on the tee for a while, which is not something I thought I would say. Like, yes, I know at the start I was critiquing this a little bit, the fact that it's not a jazzy different colorway, it's not like a little bit more retro, but at the end of the day, does that matter if it actually performs? This definitely produces a bit more higher spin, a little bit more higher launch, and something that you feel that you can hit a lot straighter from the tee. Okay, we've got one more to hit, and I'm dying to see what this plays like off the deck. Now obviously it can only be hit off a perfect lie. Also enjoying this little detail right here, the TI 340 Mini driver. It's really nice, isn't it? It's as much as it's not something I was expecting in terms of look, I was expecting something a bit different. It's good. It's really good. And you know what? In terms of recreating that lie off the fairway, that's definitely something that we can do. So let's hit this one away. This could be 5 for 5 straight down the gun, which when I've tested drivers recently, it's not something that has happened all the time. Okay, here we go. Let's give this an absolute bash down there. Again, I'm going to say something quite bold right now. I think you can probably throw a blanket over all of them. Now, I'll be honest, like that was poker straight, but a little bit off the bottom of the club. Like a little bit of something around there. So I guess the AI Smart Face was coming right into play. And the only reason I knew that, it felt a little bit like it was in here, and these numbers would support that. A bit of a shorter carry, bit more spin, bit less ball speed, more club head speed though, and a little bit of a shorter total. So didn't get much rollout on that one. But right, let's put it in perspective. We have water down the left, water to carry just in front of us here, and we hit the fairway on a really tight hole. Come Alex, don't get too greedy. So I think we can all agree those first 5 shots are unbelievably good. And a part of me was like, well, yeah, this will go straighter, but won't go as long. But I think it's going just as long as normal, or definitely up there. Definitely not short enough to be like, oh, it's going too short. Now, is a mini driver something that you would put in the bag as well as a driver? Or you're thinking, looking at this going, you know what, I think I just need a mini driver in general, right? Sack off the driver, get a mini driver, shorter shaft, more loft, a little bit easier to control and tame. I hit more fairways and lower my scores that way. You can also use it off the deck, which we're about to do. But look at this, right? We hit 5 balls away, and I'm just scanning here, and look where all these are finished. Just to put this in perspective, we teed off right down there. And look, here are all the golf balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This first one right here was definitely the last shot that I hit, and then we got those 2 long ones further up. 5. Like, this hole is so narrow, and we hit the fairway 5 times out of 5. I feel really confident with this club. I'm thinking, yeah, you could just play with this and have no driver. Now, it's really interesting. I mentioned this deep face at the start. This is something we're going to look at now. It's also interesting to note the construction of this driver. It's made with titanium, and what I can see is the carbon fiber on top. Now, this gives you a driver-like look and action, I guess, but with a fairway wood sort of style play. And we all know we get on with our fairway woods, most of us, much better than we get on with our driver. And the simple fact that is simply there's more loft and there's a shorter shaft. These are the 2 things that I've really been banging on about, and something that I think allows golfers to be, that big word, a lot more, oh, don't drop the golf balls, Alex, a lot more consistent. And we all know consistency is everything we're after. Everyone asks me for that. Let's now test this off the deck. Let's test this off the deck. I guess it's also time to answer, is this Callaway's actual answer to the Taylormade mini driver? Because as I say, right, it's always going to be compared to it. Now, so far, so good. And so far, I'm mightily impressed. So let's look at this down behind the ball on the ground. Look, no T-peg at all. What I'm really quite interested in is how this leading edge, this bottom of the golf club right here, interacts with the turf. Like I mentioned this, look how deep the face is, and it does look a little weird with the ball there and no T-peg. Part of me's thinking, and look at it from here and see if you think the same thing, how on earth am I going to get this in the air? Now remember, this should give you a fairway-like flight. I'm guessing that might mean off the T-peg, but it's definitely something that they have said in the past, maybe not Callaway specifically, but definitely been said that you can use a mini driver both off the deck and off the tee. Now, I'll be honest, I think most of us are going to just use this off the tee, but with 13.5 degrees of loft. But right here in front of me, it's a slight upslope, which will help. And look, we're around about 260 from the green, but based on how far they were carrying before, I'm sort of thinking, that's about right. Okay, let's just hit 3 away off the deck. I'm interested to see how this goes. I really don't know what to expect right here with this off the deck. If I can even reach it. I'm looking it down at this and thinking, yes, I know I put off a good lie, but how on earth is that leading edge gonna get this ball up in the air? Anyway, let's hit the first one away off the deck and see what happens. Oh my Lord, that just launched so high. Did you see that? Go on then. That has just seriously surprised me. Like, I just hit that 257 yards total. I carried it 250 yards, 4,152 spin. Look at that ball speed, look at that clubhead speed. And here you go. Look at those numbers right there. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That just surprised me. Like, I didn't know how this would react. I didn't know how it would feel off the turf, but that launch was crazy good for off the deck. Like, way more than I was expecting. Now, that is partly because of the lock, but also with the weight a little bit further back, it will really help you do that. But oh my, that was a 13.4 degree launch. Again, look at that launch. Not quite as high as the first, but definitely still a really good shot. Is anyone else as surprised as I am with how this is performing off the deck? It's sort of really making it a little bit of a secret weapon, and I'm gonna say, you know what? It's a very, very good, if not the answer, to Taylormade's Mini driver. And I hate to compare two different brands, and I hate to say, okay, which one's better? Let me hit one more and I'll give you that answer. 3 for 3. The first one was definitely the best, but pretty damn consistent. Pretty damn consistent. And look where we finished. 1, 2, and 3. They're really, really good. So this beauty then, what's my opinion? Well, it does everything it promises. It's higher launching, it's higher spinning, it lands softer, it's straighter, and I'll be honest with you, I'm stood over that golf ball feeling pretty damn confident. And I was definitely surprised at how it performed off the fairway. So in my eyes, it's a really, really good driver. If you're someone who wants an additional driver when you've got tight holes, or you're just someone who really struggles with driver and you want something that's going to go a little straighter, yeah, you've got to be thinking about it. And whether you're thinking Callaway or Taylormade, go with what brand you prefer the look, sound, and overall you play with. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel here at How Good Golf.